take advantage of what he is dropping right now, because it will set you up for the future. With that being said, how should entrepreneurs be thinking about who reps them? Like, what are questions they should be asking potential, like, people that they are considering to represent them? Like, how should they be, like, assessing, like, who they want to hire?
In terms of PR agencies and publicists? Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I think part of it is getting their vision for what they see for their company. So if I'm a business owner and I'm coming, I'm a business owner not in PR looking for a publicist, I would want to get a sense of where they think we are in the landscape, what we're missing, what is room for improvement, what are we doing well, what are we not doing so well, and starting off there, right? What are some publications? Now, the one thing you have to be careful for, and that's part of, unfortunately, the nature of just not only our business, but a lot of businesses, that people oversell and underdeliver. So I think the biggest piece of advice I would give anybody looking to hire PR publicists is start off with a 3-month agreement. Like, some people start off with like 6-month contracts or year contracts, and again, like, other people are gonna be like, "Yo, why are you giving out this free game and all this stuff?"
No, that's what we here for.
But it's all about being transparent, because if you're a good PR person, if you're a good publicist, you ain't gotta worry about it. You know, the business is gonna extend after the 3 months, and that's that. But that's your best way to truly evaluate if they are for real or are they overselling and under-delivering. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people. It's just like how you interview employees for your company. There's people who know how to interview well, but when it comes time to do that work, they don't do that work. So I think part of it, that's one thing, is, again, kind of getting a sense of what's your plan, and then flipping the story, what are some stories that you think can be told about my organization? What do you feel makes my organization, stand out? And then getting a sense, you got to also make sure you're interviewing the PR person, because there's sometimes that people come and just want to be like, "Yo, take me." And I'm always like, "Why should I take you?" But I think sometimes some other organizations, clients, whoever, need to be like, "Why should I?" What do you feel is, how are you going to tell the best story for me compared to other PR companies as well? I think that's also, you got to flip it on its coin, because at the end of the day, we're interviewing each other. We gotta meet the vibe check, but we also got to meet the strategy. Be on the same strategical wavelength.
And, like, what is your requirement when you're thinking about taking on a new client? Because your roster is, high pedigree, if you will, people that are, I don't know if this is true, I'm assuming, but they already have a vibe. They already have, like, some type of buzz, and then you're, like, escalating it to the next level. Would you say, like, that's kind of where you play and that's where you like to recruit from?
In some senses. I mean, listen, we've worked with people, like, in many ways where they were not as well known. I don't say not as well known. Like, in many ways, a lot of people we take in are already obviously strong names, but it's just elevating their narrative and telling it in different ways. So that's kind of what it is. And there's several other, musicians, entertainers, even athletes who have approached us. But my thing is also, what is the story? Like, if I feel like you've already kind of maxed out, and because when it comes to just say musicians, obviously, my thing is, there's some musicians who are just musicians. They're not entrepreneurs. They're not investing in different things. They don't have other interests outside of music. They're not acting. They're not doing philanthropic work. They don't own different businesses. They're not producing different things. So one thing that I really love is when just some of these musicians have all these other different side hustles, because it really helps us paint a picture. I just feel like a lot of people look at it like, "Oh, you're a rapper."
Like linear.
But it's like, no, it's like, you are such a multifaceted individual. You are not just a rapper. You are not just a singer. You are an entrepreneur. You are a philanthropist. You know what I mean? And making sure you're sharing that side of the story. And I think some of the biggest things I love telling about my clients is when I throw them on Forbes, when I throw them in the places you don't expect, on Bloomberg, different places where you wouldn't anticipate, or when they're partnering with different organizations, you're like, what's that person doing over there? You know what I mean? And putting them in the unexpected places. So I think that's one of the things, and that's one of the reasons why we called the organization Vital Versatility, is telling the versatile, comprehensive story of these organizations and these brands.
I love that. Look at you.
I'm just saying.
And how dope it is that you've been able to build a firm where you get to be selective and very intentional about who you bring on. I think all of us who have our own companies are aspiring for that level, right? Where you are so good that people are like constantly knocking on your door, like, take me, or like, work with me, and you get to say yes or no. I mean, that's why we risk it all, right? Is to have
and
that
I don't
freedom.
take it for granted, because I'm always a big believer in, you can lose it at any time. That's just life. You can lose it at any time. So, I've been unemployed. Like, one of the big turning points for me in my life was when I went from journalism to PR. And there was a period of 7 months when I was unemployed, where I went from like living in this like nice, 1-bedroom apartment in Boston to like living in my friend's attic. And it was one of those things where just like things were not hitting my way. I'm like applying for jobs and nothing. I'm like, I've always been very smart, you know what I mean? Like always on my grind. So I'm like, the fact that I was striking out on a lot of these, job interviews and applications, it was such a tough moment. And I think that's one of those reasons why I grind so hard now, because I still remember that moment clear as day. And I'm trying never to get back into that moment ever again. But God forbid that if I'm ever put in that position again, like that's what I think, what not only keeps me humble, but just keeps me kind of motivated, is just making sure that it's like the unexpected can happen at any time and you can be right back. And granted, I was back in that position willingly, like I willingly left and changed careers, but at the same time, it's just one of those things where just like not being complacent. Like I'm very thankful that we have a great roster. I'm very thankful that we're in a position where we can be selective. But at the same time, being mindful of the fact that things can change, and you have part of being entrepreneurs being able to weather the storm. And also the other thing they don't teach you, going back to the very first question, is like the immense responsibility that you have when you have employees, because you are responsible for their well-being, for their salaries and their ability to feed their own families, to be able to take care of themselves. So that comes with another extra layer of pressure, and I take that responsibility very serious, that I think people don't realize that, I'm grinding hard, not just for me, but I'm for you guys as well. So, and I want you guys to want it just as much.
How big is your team?
Right now we have four full-time employees and 1 intern.
Wow. That's awesome.
Man.
And you guys are spitting out. Goes to show you don't need like a 30-man team to do good work.
Yeah,